So good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 23. I beg your pardon, and 24. And as far as I'm concerned, we have exhausted the meat of freelancing. We've started from day one. There was quite a lot of modules to digest. At this point, we are hoping that all our trainees would have gotten clarity about what they want to do, what their products are. Some of them we're already supporting them with creating publicity materials for their business. We're giving them clarity. We're trying to teach everyone how to simplify the service and the value that they offer so that they will be able to have a seamless flow when they're doing their promotions and marketing. Basically, I think two sessions ago, we talked about marketing and promotion. And in fact, after this training, we intend to have a 5-day, either a 5 or a 10-day, we don't know yet, 5 or 10-day freelance marketing class. Because again, like we said in our previous session, by the time you have all the skill, you have the solution, you have the product or the service, if you don't know how to get it to your customers, if you don't know how to get to the people who are willing to pay for it, you are still not in business. So the marketing aspect of doing business, or the marketing aspect of freelancing, is one of the most crucial areas as well. And we expect that everyone who wants to do this should be equipped with it. Some of you, your products or your services are not very viable, or at least I can say that you don't have clarity with regards to what your specific product or what your specific service is. And so that way it's difficult for you to be able to tell how you can sell it. So I would be available to provide guidance or to brainstorm with you, or to be able to help you get clarity about simplifying the products, the services that you offer in such a way that it is hitting the pain points of your target client or your target markets or your target audience, so much that immediately they see the product, they are able to know that this is what they need. Because some of you make your product so complicated. In the course of trying to respond to your quizzes, I can tell that more than half of you still do not have clarity about how you can simplify and productize your products and your service in such a way that the people who need them, even though they might be service-based, will just go off the shelf and pick them. And that's exactly, the end goal for what we're doing here, to just help you understand in simple terms what service you offer. And for some of you, as basic as pricing can even mar your business if you're not able to know the appropriate pricing to give for your business. And all of us as entrepreneurs, as freelancers, we face this challenge. You might either be underpricing or you might be overpricing. If you're not pricing appropriately, you might have challenges, or sometimes even having clarity about your pricing, you might have challenge selling your product. So with that being said, today we're going to look at when to start freelancing. So after you have heard all, after you have learned all the things you have learned, after you have been able to brainstorm and get clarity about your product and your service, when exactly should you start freelancing? And then there's another module we're going to look at that talks about the things to say or the things not to do, or is it the things to do? We will check, we will see what that is whilst you're freelancing. So before we start to look at the things that, before we start to look at the tips that can show us when we should start freelancing, I want to make it clear that as you are just like with any business, as you're starting your freelancing career, you should not expect money to just shower down from the sky as soon as you get into, or you jump into the freelancing business. No, it doesn't happen that way. Okay, so freelancing, like every other business, right? It takes time. It takes hard work. It takes commitment. It takes dedication. It takes the management skills. It takes the networking. It takes the marketing. It takes all of that. So you have to be able to put all of that in place before you are sure, of wanting to recoup or make any profit. Some of you might need some time. You might need to do all these things that you are doing. You might even start offering the freelancing skills, but profit or getting any kind of remuneration that you can even begin to save from will not be realistic. Okay, so no matter how pretty good you are in your field, I mean, some of you might think that, oh, I'm very good, I do this thing very well, I solve the problem. But one thing you must know is that there are additional skills that you must have apart from the original solutions that you're providing. So learning how to balance your new role, learning how to balance all the other skills, like the marketing side, like the accounting side, like the money management side, and all that is crucial And all this will happen within the first 3 to 6 months of your business before you can get a balance. So don't expect any major level of profit when you are about to start whatever business or the freelancing business that you want to offer. So I would actually just recommend that you give yourself at least 3 months. In fact, if I want to be realistic, I would say give yourself 6 months before expecting to earn any substantial income from your efforts. So please have it at the back of your mind that the fact that you know what you know, the fact that you have the skills that you have, the fact that you know that you have the solution that you want to provide to the people that you want to provide the solution to, it does not mean that the profit or the money or the money will just keep springing immediately. So have that at the back of your mind. So with that being said, let's look at some of the tips. I have listed 10 tips that will help you to get ready, okay? So the number one thing you must know, which is some of the things that we're also providing support for some of our students or trainees, is the fact that you must know the role you want to pursue. Some of you also, like me, want to offer 2 to 3 roles, but it is very paramount. In fact, even me, as I speak to you, as I am trying to offer these training services under my NGO, my business is suffering because I cannot give the same amount of time and dedication to my business because I'm also giving this time. And again, the reason why this has to be given time is because this is still in the incubation stage. In the beginning of your freelancing career, I do not recommend that. I recommend that you focus on the role, focus on that primary service that you want to offer. Yes, you might have other skills. Yes, you might have other business ideas. Yes, you may have other. If for some of you, I was thinking about you this evening, and I was thinking that some of you who even decided that you wanted to be our associate, if you are very sure about the skill or the services that you're offering, I think you should even drop down on that associate issue and focus on your business. If you're not sure that you're ready to do the business or you don't have the skill, then it's okay. You can do the associate engagement on the side just to be able to raise revenue, but we expect you to focus on the role and be sure that you have the skill and you have the solution that you want to offer to your client. So you must know the role. You must be sure that you know the role. Okay. Then the next thing you want to be sure you have that will guarantee that you are ready to start is that you must have a dedicated workspace. Some of you are enrolling for this training, you still just have your mobile phone, you don't have a laptop, and you're not even planning to have one. Some of you who want to offer skills like data entry, like the graphic design and web design we're talking about, you must have a dedicated working space. You must have a place in your room that is dedicated for just work, and you have the tools, which everybody knows that as a freelancer, one of the very critical, important tools that you must have is a laptop. Some of you who want to do content creator, you need to have microphones. Some of you who want to do, you know what you want to do. So whatever it is you want to do, you must have a dedicated workspace, except if you don't want to give this business or this freelancing skills the time that it deserves or the commitment that it deserves. So you must have a workspace and the equipment or tools needed for your business. Then the freelancing gig that you want to get into, or the freelancing service, or the small business, whatever it is you want to do, has to be viable. You must be sure that people need it. You don't want to be offering services that 1 out of 1,000 people will need it. You have to be sure that it's viable. You have to be sure that by the time you put it out there, there are going to be lots of people calling for it. And that's why I'm still insisting that I want to be able to help as many of you get clarity and simplify exactly what you want to offer, so that at the sight of it, anybody who just sees it just knows that I need this thing. I really would wish to help as many of you get that clarity, because some of you, I'm sorry to say, you were sending me all sorts of boring things, but anyway, it is still welcome, or it's still okay, because that's the essence of the training. The essence of the training is to provide you the guidance and the knowledge and the skill and the know-how to get clarity about the service and the products that you want to offer. Then, if you are somebody who is in this training and you really want to do freelancing, you have to be someone who is craving for independence, someone who has determined that they want to be their own boss. But tell you what, I will not be too hard on this particular tip or advice, because some of you who already have a full-time job, I do not recommend that you quit your full-time job immediately until at least you are sure that your freelancing gig or your freelancing service is beginning to be lucrative, or it's beginning to look viable, or you are beginning to get clients who pay you. So if you can do your freelancing service or in the evenings after work or during weekends or whatever, just to try and troubleshoot it until you are sure that it is beginning to be profitable before you can leave your full-time job, fine. But if you are those, my darlings, who do not even have jobs at all or who are unemployed, you should be determined to to go independent. You should crave for independence. You should be determined to be your own boss and begin to build that mentality. There was a particular module we called the freelancer mindset. We expect that you would have gotten some tips, and tricks from there as to how you can, get into that mindset and begin to dig this thing, right? Then if you are determined to start as a full-time freelance, in a full-time freelance career, then it means that you're ready to start. So for some of you, the independence is there, but you're not sure if you want to be, the crave for independence is there, yes. You want to be your own boss, yes, but you are not sure if freelancing is for you. Again, I had mentioned in our previous classes that in this first batch of the training, we took everybody. So we took even people who are talking about products, people who are talking about doing things that are not tallying with what freelancing is. But in the subsequent training, maybe after the second batch, we want to make sure that we're attracting only the people who are focused on service-oriented kind of business, because freelancing is more on service. It's not more about selling products. It's not for those fashion designers. It's not for those people selling hand sanitizers. It's not for those people selling shoes. Yes, the skills and the things you learn here will be applicable to any small business, but we would prefer a situation where our training is focused more on those guys who are focused on service-oriented type of gig. You must be resilient and self-motivated. You shouldn't be that kind of person. For example, some of you who are in the 90-day challenge or who are our associate, I have to keep pushing you. I have to keep telling you, oh, this is the mark for today. This is the mark for next. No, you shouldn't be. As a freelancer, you should be self-motivated. You should be resilient on your own. You should know when you wake up in the morning, you've taken notes, you've put down this and say, okay, today I'm talking to 100 people. And out of that 100 people, I must sell to 10. That is how the freelancer mindset works. So if you are somebody who does not have that mindset and people have to be pushing you, freelancing is not for you. You have to still go back and look for a full-time job, because a freelancer in their mind knows that their goals or their ceiling to be broken on that day or every day. So nobody has to tell you. So to be sure that you are ready to do freelancing, you have to be resilient and you have to be self-motivated. Then you are determined to go all in. Many of you have the one leg in, one leg out, or because I'm unemployed, I want to do this. Yeah, that's still okay. But I really would wish that we're attracting those sets of people who are determined to go all in, who are saying, oh, this is something for me. This fits my personality. This is the kind of thing I've always looked for. And they are determined to go all in. Okay. Then another thing that is very important if you're going to be a freelancer is that you should be willing to put yourself out there. Some of you have been telling you need to take pictures, you need to take professional headshots and put them on your Facebook, do a brief description about yourself, start, posting about your service, pin one or two of the products or the services that you have. You have to be willing to go out there, go all out. And in fact, if you're willing to go all out, people are going to make comments. People are going to shun you. People are going to snub you. People are going to say, please don't disturb me. People are going to say, are you okay? You're going to offer some services that will not be completely so be willing to put yourself out there and take both the negatives and the positives that comes with freelancing. So if you're not willing to put yourself out there, you want to do freelancing, but you want to hide under the curtain, I'm not sure you're going to go anywhere with that. Because for many of us who are doing this, yes, it can be challenging sometimes. Some days you are scared, some days you are away, but that is the spirit of entrepreneurship. That's the spirit of a freelancer. So you should be determining sometimes you have to put your face. Sometimes you have to do some videos. Sometimes you have to do some live. Sometimes you have to be somebody who's determined to put themselves out there. You must be mentally and emotionally ready. If you have a husband who is always fighting you, who is always giving you stress, and today you can work, tomorrow you cannot work, I'm not sure you are ready. If you are mentally, sometimes you are depressed, you are down because you didn't get client today, so you are not going back tomorrow, you are not ready. Because if you are a freelancer, it's like you go to the market every day. It's not every day you sell. There's good days and there are bad days. So if you are somebody who wants to be a freelancer and you are sure you are ready, you have to be mentally ready. The day is good, glory be to God. The day is bad, you go again. You keep going, and all that. Then finally, if you are not sure that freelancing is for you, if you are not sure that you have acquired all the skills that you need to have to deliver to your clients, then do not start. Make sure that you know the role. Make sure that you have the skill. Make sure that you are willing to offer the service. Make sure that you have the know-how. Make sure that you're committed. Make sure that you're going to be passionate. Make sure that you're going to over-deliver. Make sure. If you are not sure, do not start. So basically, that is the summary for, those guys who want to confirm that they are ready, to start freelancing. So as far as I'm concerned, these are the tips that you need to know with regards to confirming to you as to when you should start freelancing. Now, let's look at a few more tips concerning the things you should not do as a freelancer. So there are a couple of things you should not do as a freelancer. I know that as a freelancer, you have to be resilient, you have to be passionate, you have to be determined. But one thing you should not do also is not to be desperate. It depends on the kind of service you're offering in this case. There are certain clients that you do not need to take. There are certain jobs that you should not do. The client should not perceive that you are willing to take just any job, whether or not you know you have the answers or you have the solutions or not. Just saying yes, 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 without critically thinking, critically analyzing the needs of the customer. If they sense any level of desperation, it's not good for your brand, it's not good for your business. So as much as you want to be resilient, you want to be passionate, please try to not show to your clients or to your prospective customers that you are desperate. As much as possible, try to avoid that. Do not over promise and under deliver. I think somewhere in between I mentioned that. You don't want to tell the person that as a digital marketer that you're going to be able to get them 20,000 following in 6 months, when in actual fact you're not going to be able to do 5,000. You don't want to tell the customer that you would design a perfectly fitted website with mobile integration, when in actual fact there's going to be chaos or challenges with the mobile integration. You don't want to tell your clients that you're going to give them a superb competitive graphic design, when in actual fact you don't have the expertise to deliver that. You don't want to tell your client that you can analyze their data and present it in such a way that it can be used by Bill Gates, when in actual fact you do not have the capacity to deliver that. So as much as possible, under promise and over deliver in any service, in any freelancing field whatsoever. Then one of the things you should also try not to do is do not limit yourself. Okay. Now, the thing is, with freelancing, depending on what skills that you have, okay, there are certain skills that will be required, or certain services that will be required outside of Nigeria, okay, or even outside your locality. Let's say, for example, you live in Abuja and you have a client in Lagos. Don't limit yourself. If there is any need for you to physically make a trip to Lagos and meet with that client, and the client is convinced that you're competitive enough, try to go out of the box. Don't say that because I want to service this client and the client is in Lagos, for example, or the client is in Abuja and I'm in Lagos, then I do not want to go overboard or beyond my local environment. Try as much as possible to not limit yourself, okay? And again, with the advent of the internet, you can actually offer freelancing services remotely. So it depends on the service that you offer. That's why we keep saying that service-oriented kind of stuff is what we do here. If you are a researcher like my friend who always talks about researching, your clients can be in London, your clients can be in the US, your clients can be anywhere. Do not limit yourself to think that maybe you can. Sometimes it's okay to, as much as we don't want you to overpromise and under-deliver, but it's also okay to push yourself, especially if you know you have the basic capabilities for delivering on the job. Then don't limit yourself. Look for clients anywhere. For example, I also began only a few months ago I used to be scared when I was doing my immigration and travel business. I used to be scared to get clients from India, get clients from Philippines, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh. But after a while, I decided that I was going to not limit myself and venture into that market. I found out that it was even more lucrative to work with those guys than to work with Nigerian clients, because Nigerian clients are even too much headache, because they are your brother and your sister. They will come and cry when things go wrong and all. But these other ones, they understand, because they understand how the space works. So basically, just try not to limit yourself and venture into other markets, venture into other domains, especially if you can offer your services on a virtual from a virtual perspective. Okay. Then one of the things you should also try not to do is don't trust all potential clients. There are some clients who want to mess you up. There are some clients who want to swindle you. There are some clients who would expect you to work and they will not pay you. There are some clients who will not want to sign contracts with you. There are some clients who want to tell you, oh, we'll pay you in this manner, but at the end of the day, they end up not paying you. So you also, as much as the client sometimes will not trust you to deliver, you also want to be sure to not overtrust your clients. Make sure that you ask for certain payments upfront, or make sure you just guard your own your own ends as much as possible, right? So that you don't get frustrated or get cheated or taken advantage of. And then there are some clients also who would want to ask for more than the contract says. So if, for example, the contract says you are going to provide XYZ number of, service, but the client wants to push you to do more than what the contract says. And that's why some of these things you need. And in the course of teaching our freelance marketing, we're going to teach you how to make some of your documents ready, invoicing, service agreements, and all of that, depending on the services that you're going to offer. Then don't just take any job. There are some jobs you should not take. Even if you are, for example, a laundry man, there are some jobs that you should not take. There are some clients you should not work for. There are sometimes when you go to a client, maybe, for example, those of you who are reaching out to me and telling me you want to offer home service, laundry, and all that. There are some clothes that your clients will bring out and you say, oh, madam, I can't wash this one, right? Or there's some things that your clients will present that you will just say that you can't do. So as much as possible, be patient with your clients, listen to their needs, see how you can solve their problems, provide value as much as you can. But if there are clients that you see that might become overly unbearable, or they might ask for too much, or they want to underpay you, or they want to take advantage of your skill, or they don't look very serious, you want to ensure that you can run away from some of the jobs that you do not, want to take. So there are a few other bonus tips that should guide you on what not to do. I think some of these we also mentioned in the course of our presentation. You want to make sure that you have defined goals, well-defined goals before you start your freelancing skills. You don't just want to start any which way. Decide that every month I want to have 10 clients. In fact, these days I've been approaching some clients in Canada that I want to see how we can collaborate with them to provide vocational learning opportunities for our people from Africa and Asia. And one of the common questions I noticed a couple of them asked me is, how many clients can you give us in a month? So they also have goals, and they want to be sure that the partners that they're going to be working with will be able to deliver the numbers that will align with their goals. So as a freelancer, you want to make sure you have goals. How many clients can you take per time, per month, per week, per day? Make sure you have that, okay? Then I also talked about contract. I'm going to give some of you something called like a service agreement. It can be just a one page. That service agreement will guide both you and your client so that the client knows where his right stops and you also know where your right stop, because this service agreement can cause friction. This service agreement cost me lots of problems in my early days of business. There were a few times I did a couple of things when I used to organize tourist events. There was a particular event that failed, that I didn't have service agreement with my clients, and things went bad. And there was nothing I could do. And I was the one who caved in because there was no service agreement. But this time around, I don't do business with anybody without making sure there's a service agreement so that they know what they can do if anything goes wrong, because we're not alpha and omega, right? Even when you have business dealings with government, sometimes it can go wrong. You see Dangote shouting and crying these days about the fact that NNPC want to turn around the contract or the agreements hard, and all that. It always happens. At the upper level, at the middle level, at the lower level, you want to make sure you have a service agreement in place, no matter what you are doing. There is no industry, there is no business, there is no space where there is no need for service agreement. The only thing you must do is get a template within your industry and try to tweak it or rejig it in a way that fits the description of your particular business. Not charging the right amount is a problem. You don't want to undercharge. You don't also want to overcharge. Sometimes for the pricing, it might not be stable in the beginning. You might give a little price, see how the feedback is from your clients, see what they say. Oh, the job was done. It was more than the money paid. Oh, the money I paid you was more than I got less value. By the time you get feedback 1 or 2 times, you'll be able to know the perfect and the right kind of pricing to choose. Then you want to also manage your time correctly. Time management is very key for freelancing. If not, you find that you're spending the whole day without achieving. In fact, these days I've been frustrated about my time management. I've been saying that I've been spending so much time on things that are not profitable. But again, those ones are my social investments. I feel like there are things that I'm in love, I've always wanted to do. So I see that even if I don't have tangible monies coming from them, but they've always been things that I've always wanted to do. So you also want to be sure that you're managing your time, effectively. Then take care of your personal marketing. In fact, this one should not even be the last, because marketing, you should, no matter what you do, no matter how much of a guru you are, if you are not marketing, my dear, you will not be in business. So you have to, and as a freelancer, the initial marketing has to be by you, okay? So on the final note, as we mentioned earlier, to summarize, do not be desperate to get any work or any project. You want to wait to do your research to be sure you can deliver the value that the clients want. You have to be patient with them, okay, and ensure that you listen to their problems and you have the capacity to provide the results that they seek. And finally, do not accept just any offer. So if you are new into freelancing, okay, you want to make sure that all of these things that we've mentioned here, that you put them all into consideration before you get started. This is the end of my presentation at the moment. Please take all this advice that we're giving you. If you have any questions, we will go on a break now. We will come back in less than a minute, and I'm going to take some questions from you, and then we will call it a wrap. I think tomorrow will be the last day we're going to have this presentation, and it's going to be done with. So please, this thing goes off now. We will take a break, and we will come back in just 1 minute, and then we will take your questions and your concerns, your recommendations, and then we will call it a day. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your consistency. Thank you for being with us up until this point. Well, please, everybody,